episode of every Marvel movie ever for the entire year of 2019.
Nope, just ever.
Oh, fuck, thank God. I mean, no.
Sweet release.
Okay, well, this would be a weird one to end on. I am your host, Gabe Thomas. With me, as always, is your co-host, Francisco Alcala. And today we are looking at 2005's Fantastic Four.
What a fine movie.
I like this movie a lot. It's campy, it's very comic booky, and it has more personality than like a lot of the early 2000s. I mean, in fact, a lot of the movies that we've talked about in general. Not as much as X-Men or Spider-Man, but pretty much more than anything else, I think. I mean, like Punisher, like there's exceptions, but I think this movie has more of a vision, which kind of makes me appreciate it more.
I feel like this movie is a lot more about the characters than like the action. There's not that much action in this.
No, I like what we get though, because there's some big set pieces,
especially
at
the end.
Yeah, in that scene on the bridge, of course. So this was released on July 8th of 2005 with a budget of $100 million, and it made $330.6 million. So
you were gonna say it made $3 million.
No, I think we're starting to get out of superhero movies not making their budgets back. I think that kind of doesn't happen. Going forward, I don't think we're gonna see any of that.
We just won't talk about Man-Thing.
Yeah, was that
$1 billion?
$1 million? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, this was directed by Tim Story, who he did the Barbershop movies, he did the Think Like a Man movies, and he did the Ride Along movies. Then he just fucking did both of the Fantastic Four movies in the early 2000s. And this was written by Michael France, who we've talked about before, because he also wrote on Hulk and Punisher and Goldeneye. But this was co-written by Mark Frost, co-creator of Twin Peaks. I didn't know this until last week, but holy shit, it doesn't make any sense, and he's never done anything in this field ever again, but that blows my fucking mind. Like, I don't know where it comes from. I have no idea. Like, I can't see any of his influence on this entire film, other than maybe... Actually, no, I have no fucking clue where it
And
is.
this literally means nothing to me whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that's just so weird. I think there are some people out there who are gonna... Maybe we can teach them that.
A whole two people.
It's such an odd, fun fact, but... Yeah, fucking Mark Frost. So, do we need to recount what the Fantastic Four is about? I know it's been a while since anyone's seen a Fantastic Four movie.
I think most people know, or at least most of the people that listen to this show probably know who the Fantastic Four are.
It's a group of scientists.
They go to space, they get hit with the Phoenix Force.
Yeah, pretty much. Radiation storm, and then they have different powers. Inexplicably, like powers that make no fucking sense, but we
and
go
Victor
with
Von Doom is there, and nobody questions why his last name is Von Doom.
Yeah, well, in the comics, he's not part of the expedition. That's a weird thing that was added in this. I think even in the 90s one, he wasn't part of the expedition, which was
Is
more
his
accurate.
skin made of metal in the comics? Or is that just another
No.
weird thing about this
Okay.
movie?
If we want to, because I do have lots of positive things to say about this movie, but if we want to start with some of the negatives, Dr. Doom is the worst part of this movie. He's not even terrible. It's just one of the worst characterizations.
I think it's just like, it's not even him. I think he does a fine job. It's just whoever wrote his character did an awful job.
He's better in the second one. And Dr. Doom, this is Stan Lee's personal favorite villain of all time in the comics, Dr. Doom, because he is an incredible character when you read about him. But in this, he's just this weird businessman who, he's like a rival scientist of Reed Richards, and he has this weird, like, multi-million-dollar company where they build statues of him and stuff, and he's dating Sue Storm.
For about 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, he tries to propose to her.
He's like, nah.
And she's like,
I'm
no,
not about that.
I'm smarter than that. But, like, once he gets his powers, which he doesn't get his powers the way he does in the comics. In the comics, he does science stuff, and he's one of the smartest characters in the entire Marvel Universe, but also he has, like, magic. Like, most of what he's about is magic, and he rules an entire country. But in this, he's just a fucking guy who has some big buildings in New York or whatever.
And his skin is also made of metal.
And he shoots lightning. There is no version of Dr. Doom who shoots lightning like he's fucking Thor.
That's literally his one power, is just shooting lightning.
It's so stupid. Like, I think for a while, because, I mean, I've always kind of been reading comic books, but I think when I was really young and watching this movie, I was like, oh, okay, so Dr. Doom just has lightning powers. No, he does not. And I think this is probably a lot of people's only frame of reference for the character. That's not a thing that he can do.
His lightning is so powerful, he can blow a hole in someone's chest.
Well, like, the thing is, I hate the lightning ability, but I love that because it's so
Yeah,
gory. Like, there's one moment of
It's so out of
extreme gore
place.
in this movie, and it's really good.
There's not even any blood in it.
No, it's just a big hole, but that satisfies me. I think that's crazy good. But yeah, no, that's an awful characterization. And yes, it's very comical that his last name is Von Doom. But what are you going to do? I mean, that's how it is in the comics. It's like, I think in the 2015 one, Josh Trank was gonna make him Victor Domachev, and he was gonna be a hacker.
Because of course.
So I'll take cheesy Doctor Doom, who owns a big science company, over weird hacker Doctor Doom. But
Yeah, I'll take Big Science Man over Hacker Man any day.
hacker man. But he looks good. The costume's good, I think.
Yeah, it's actually really
yeah.
good.
It's better in the second one. Like, most things are better in the second one, because I think the second one is just a better movie. And, you know, it's not... This movie is kind of typical Origin, where they're not a team until the end of the movie, but they're still doing crazy shit, so I don't mind too much. We get Michael Chiklis as the Thing. I don't even know how to say Ian Griffith or whatever his name is. Or Yoan Griffith, I think. I don't know how to say his name. But he's Reed Richards. And then...
An actor plays Reed Richards.
Yeah, an actor. He's good. He's good. I think he's. I think everyone's very well cast in this whole movie. It doesn't get enough credit for that. Captain America, Chris Evans himself as Human Torch, which I think is what most people remember about this movie, and Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, and they all do a pretty good job. I think that's a really solid cast that they had. But we can talk about some of the people who were in the running at different points in time.
These are always so bad.
It's always so weird, and you can't really picture it. I didn't put this on the list, but I think Hugh Jackman for Reed Richards at some point.
No.
That's
Just no.
fucking confusing. And apparently, I was reading about it, apparently this is the movie that has our favorite deleted scene of all time.
Really?
I always thought it was Rise of the Silver Surfer, but I guess it's when they go to the planetarium, that scene is extended. And
Have
then that
we
happens.
talked about this on the show yet?
I think we've probably screamed about it, but we've never explained what exactly it is.
A stronger man.
There will be a link below.
Yeah, probably. So apparently there was going to be a Hugh Jackman cameo in this. For some reason, Reed Richards was just going to shapeshift into Hugh Jackman for no reason.
He stretches his face not just to be Hugh Jackman, to be Wolverine himself.
Yeah, specifically.
With the beard and the hair, so that's saying that his powers are that he can use his elasticity to stretch his hair out, I guess, and give himself facial hair.
I don't think that's how stretching works.
No, not in his power set. But neither is lightning. So, with Doctor Doom, but whatever.
I mean,
guess.
at least they established that.
Yeah, I guess, whatever. It's not the worst thing. It's just so shitty that they really simplified his powers down to he can shoot big beams of lightning, whatever. So George Clooney and Brendan Fraser were both considered for the role of Reed Richards.
I would love to see Brendan Fraser
as Reed Richards.
Yeah.
His career was definitely dead by this point, right?
Yep.
For sure. I was trying to think, when was The Mummy 3, but it doesn't matter. Oh my god, every woman in Hollywood was considered for Susan Storm.
Because they're all the same.
Pretty much. Whoa, what?
It's a joke.
So Scarlett Johansson, which that would have been weird, Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson. Kate Bosworth, Rachel McAdams, Elizabeth Banks, and everybody else. For a while, they wanted Paul Walker as Johnny Storm, which I think that works. That makes sense to me. I can see that. Peyton Reed, who went on to direct both the Ant-Man movies, or he took over the first Ant-Man from Edgar Wright, and then he directed Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was originally on board to do this, which I really like his cast for it. He wanted John C. Reilly for Ben Grimm, which... That's great casting.
Yeah, I guess.
He wanted Charlize Theron for Sue Storm, which I also think really works. And he wanted Jude Law for Doctor Doom. All of those, I think, would be really good, and I would totally watch that. Not only do all comic fans hate the way that Doctor Doom is depicted, but Stan Lee himself is not a fan of what they did with that character, because again, his favorite villain to ever be in a Marvel comic
shoots lightning and his skin is made of metal.
Yeah, he's just a weird conniving businessman instead of being the leader of a third world country. But he also called Ben Chiklis' performance as Ben Grimm his favorite Marvel performance of all time. He's so good.
How recent was that?
I don't know. Probably around the time the movie came out. Which I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be very easy to see.
But I mean, it's still very good. It's still the best that character's ever been on screen.
Yeah,
I love that the costume is like, it's really there.
It's not
practical,
CG.
And Michael Chiklis himself actually fought for that because he was a big fan of the comics, and he was like, "We're not doing the CG. I want to be in the suit." And as a result of that, that suit weighs 60 pounds and took him 3 hours to get into. And somebody had to like blow cold air into the suit because it was always super hot in it. So
Well, that's what I call dedication.
right?
Good on him.
He's so awesome, and he had to wear prosthetic teeth for it. And apparently, he would like read to his kids every night with the prosthetic teeth. Yeah, with the prosthetic teeth. That's not fun to say, but like to practice with them. So, no, yeah, he's awesome. He's so good, and he's great in this movie.
Oh, yeah, Ben. A few days in space. It'll be great.
I love the dynamic between him and Johnny in this, because that's kind of how it is in the comics, where they're always just fucking with each other. They get into that weird Street Fighter 2 bonus level round where he just destroys that car. They get into that weird fight. But I like all of that stuff. I think there's some good character work in here. Like, everybody is exactly who they are in the comics, other than Doctor Doom, but the main four. And then they have good friendships and relationships with each other within it, so it does feel kind of like a family. Like, it's not the Avengers, but it's pretty good. I like that. I don't think these movies, this one and the next one, get enough credit, because I think there's a lot of good in them. I think there's a lot of stuff that, like, there's a lot of tropes and a lot of dumb stuff that happens.
But I feel like that's just like every movie we've watched so far.
Yeah,
and I think that's every movie going forward. Like, I don't.
It's not as offensive as it is in, like, I like this movie more than the Blade sequels, or more than Daredevil, or obviously like Elektra and that stuff. But it's not as good as the Spider-Man movies or the X-Men movies or the Punisher. But I think it's better than most of the other theatrical Marvel movies up to this point. Maybe we should talk about the effects of the powers. I think 3 out of 4
very
of
hit
them,
very hit or miss for me.
yeah, okay, that's probably fair. I think 3/4 of them almost always look very good, and 1/4 of them almost always looks very bad. Can you guess which is which?
Is it Reed Richards?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very
It's
good.
not very good at any point.
Those stretch
really.
effects are almost as bad as the last Fantastic Four movie we've watched.
Yeah, sure.
They're pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
I don't think you're remembering that clearly, but
oh no, yeah, I'm remembering it now. No, that was way worse.
Just remember the wavy hands coming out the top
yeah,
of the
never
window
mind.
when they're getting married. Yeah.
Still not great in this though.
No, not great, and more disgusting, definitely. The scene where
Because it's CG.
the scene where he puts his hand under the door is so disgusting, and like it's supposed to be, but not for the reasons that it is. It's a bad effect. I think the only time it looks okay is when there's that shot that I really like where he's been pushed off the building and he's hanging on, and the hands are like way up there and he's way down there. That looks really good because that's not that hard of a thing to pull off, I would imagine, with a $100 million budget, where a lot of the other stuff is in 2005.
I think probably that, and when he's like completely wrapped around
Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. And I think maybe when he's fighting Doom at the end, it doesn't look so bad, like when they're all fighting as a team. But whenever it's just Reed Richards and he's not in costume doing stuff, it always looks pretty weird. CGI hands, it's so weird and like, remember the hand in Blade when Deacon Frost gets his hand cut off and grows it back? There's just something odd about it.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Johnny's powers also look pretty hit or miss sometimes. Like, sometimes it looks pretty good, and then other times it looks a little rough.
Okay, well, what's an example?
Like,
'cause I always thought that was a good effect.
I feel like some shots they just get too close.
Okay,
and then it just looks a little weird from like
CGI Chris Evans' face.
Yeah,
is more of the thing, I think.
It's just weird seeing like CGI orange Chris Evans, but like once it's like a little further away, like you can't see too much detail, then I think it looks good.
When it's just a red spot like zapping across the screen, it looks totally fine.
Yeah, but then they go on his face and it's just orange CGI Chris Evans from 2005, and that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They definitely have way too much of Sue needs to get naked. Like, for the first time, it's like, okay, this is fine, it's a joke, whatever. But then she does it again, and it's like, this is a little.
Don't they do it like 3 or 4 times?
Well, Reed walks in on her in the shower at one point, so there's plenty of naked Sue Storm in this movie.
Because she's the only woman on the team.
She's the only woman. I'm saving mine. And we also get Alicia Masters in this movie, who we got in the 90s one, but barely. It was really terribly handled. She was just a prisoner all the time for the Mole Man or whoever was in that movie.
Oh, ew, yeah.
In this, she's done a lot better, and I like that relationship that develops between her and Ben.
Despite the fact that it's only in like 2 scenes, but that's fine.
Well, there's a lot more because there's an extended edition of this.
Yeah.
And there's more in there, but
For what it is, it's fine.
I really like the scene where, because we all know as comic fans, we're like, okay, Ben Grimm has to have this transformation where it's first person and Johnny's telling him like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. They were doing everything."
Oh
they
yeah.
could." That is a great gag, and then it's just normal Michael Chiklis saying it's so funny. And then when he actually transforms into the Thing for the first time, I really enjoy that scene where he goes to his fiance or whatever, and then she's like terrified of him because he's a big rock monster.
I
now.
think any scene with him is just like the best parts of the movie. Like,
Yeah,
I think he's just the best part of the movie, just in general.
that bridge scene is also really good. And we have to make a tiny Christmas connection, so if I can make a stretch, no pun intended, then I'm going to say that guy who's about to kill himself by jumping off that bridge, reminiscent of Jimmy Stewart's character in It's a Wonderful Life. There we go, we did it, because he's going to kill himself. And then
All suicide is connected to.
it's very similar. Maybe just when you see somebody jumping off a bridge in a movie, you just think of that movie. But apparently that bridge scene also, it took 5 weeks to film. And one of the biggest critiques of this movie also is that everything that the Fantastic Four do that's heroic is caused by them.
Well,
this scene kind of is, because that guy's going to kill himself, and the Thing, he tries to make that situation better, but that pileup doesn't happen until he destroys that truck. I still don't think it's like,
they do 2 heroic things, and one of them is their fault.
okay, well, what do you... Oh, yeah,
The
you're
Doctor
right.
Doom thing isn't their fault.
That's not their fault. They have to fight that
And
guy.
that's literally the only other thing they do other than the bridge thing, which is definitely their fault, or at least Ben's fault.
It's definitely Ben's fault for sure, yeah. But I love that shot where he destroys that truck. It looks so good. That's
Yeah.
probably the effect shot of the whole movie, I think. Yeah, you're right, though. There's not that many action sequences in this movie.
But I think it's fine.
It's fine. The movie isn't extremely long anyway. It's it's an hour 35 minutes before the credits start, so it's not that bad anyway. But
I mean, this isn't really like an action movie anyway.
well, I mean, it's probably should be, but it's more
It-
sci-fi than action.
Yeah, it
for
should
sure.
be, but it's more character focused, so it's fine that there's only like 2 action scenes.
And I think that's good for this movie because it's about a family, and that's what's so powerful about it. It's about those human connections, so it's dealing with this weird tragic thing that happened. And then the second one, you get to punch silver guys or whatever. That's what the next one
You get to fight
You get to
Silver
fight
Surfer and
at least 2 silver guys and 1 big cloud.
I was gonna
I
say.
know, I wanted to steal it from you. Well, I haven't played any of that Fantastic Four game that was released on the major consoles, but I have been playing Fantastic Four Flame On, which is the Game Boy Advance one where you only play as Johnny Storm.
And how is that?
It's really fun.
Is it actually?
I've been playing it a lot. Yeah, it's really fun, I think.
Does it happen to have any Chris Evans voice clips in it?
No, there's no voice in it. I mean, I usually play it with the sound off, so I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't imagine so. You see his weird pixelated face, though. You see all
Ew.
of their pixelated faces, so, including, like, that nurse chick that he skis with, because that's the first level. So-
Of course.
Also, I know I was telling you this the other day, but Fantastic Four, the album, might be the best album out of any of these movies so far. Not score, but soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie, kind of
You like all the butt rock in this movie?
There's not that much. We're kind of going into more. I don't even know what direction was what 2005 was. More towards modern, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it was more just like instead of butt rock, it was just like rock and like
Yeah,
a little bit of
like,
pop.
Yeah, like poppier rock.
I'm gonna miss the butt rock era
I know. Well,
with
in
Spider-Man 1,
peace.
Nickelback.
I am so high, I can hear heaven.
Spider-Man 1 until Elektra. But
I guess.
now we're kind of out of it. So.
Oh, no more Evanescence.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I think after 2003, no one ever listened to Evanescence again until like 2016 or whenever
Yeah.
that came back. But that's what the internet does. It brings back dead music.
I feel like the songs are a little random, but I mean it's fine. They fit
It's like
enough, I guess.
Tina Turner's "We Don't Need Another Hero."
We don't need another hero.
That's on the Mad Max 3 soundtrack. Like it's an original song for that movie.
Why?
Stay with me. I promise I'm going to make this connection. And so in that whole song, it's just a normal Tina Turner song until there's a one part where she starts singing about the Thunderdome.
All we want is life beyond the Thunderdome.
Because they're like, okay, put something Mad Max in that song. So most of the songs on the soundtrack, if you listen to them, they're normal songs until they start talking about like flaming on and stuff.
There's a fire inside of you that's growing.
Like there's always a part where they're like, and I can stretch, like in every song. So it's like, okay,
It's the very last line
good
of the
work.
song.
You tied it
And
up.
I'm invisible.
Yeah.
And I'm a freak of nature.
Every time. Yeah. What do you think about Johnny Storm at the X Games? I think that's maybe the worst part of the movie. Like, worst scene? That's so stupid.
Johnny Storm at the X Games.
A sentence that we shouldn't have to say.
Yeah. First of all, I think the Xbox product
Oh my
placement
God.
was terrible.
Original Xbox
Yeah.
in 2005? Are you fucking kidding me?
Wasn't that outdated at that
Yeah,
point?
no,
Wasn't,
for sure.
Hadn't the Xbox 360 come out for like
I think
a
it was, like,
year?
Maybe. Or maybe Xbox 360 was 2006. 'cause
I
that's
think
what
it might have
PS3
been.
came. Maybe they were alongside.
Either
But
way, this is very late
why
in
are you
the
promoting
Xbox.
the Xbox in fucking 2005? Like, what
Because
the
it's
hell?
the X Games.
Summer of Ooh, maybe that's why.
That's
not why.
definitely
that's
why.
stupid. Maybe because X-Men.
This is an X-Men movie.
Confirmed. Same universe. Yeah.
I don't like it very
because
much.
He's like doing motorcycle stuff because Johnny Storm is so cool. He's constantly smooching babes, but
He's a
still
dick
he's
to
like,
everyone.
Still, he's working for NASA though. And okay, here's one thing before we get more into the X Games that I do not buy. So Johnny Storm, maybe he's dumb and he just got into NASA because his sister is really smart or whatever. That's not how things work, but okay, sure, fine.
It's called bribery.
I guess so. Or just having weird connections. But you cannot tell me that at any point Johnny Storm was working 9 to 5
Working 9 to 5.
at NASA and he does not know what a supernova is. Because that's not the most like crazy scientific thing.
That's
in the
that's
world.
just common knowledge.
People know what that is.
Everyone knows what a supernova is.
But there's a point where after Johnny Storm's testing his powers, which that's another fun scene, but then reads like, if you go too hot, you'll reach the sun's level. You'll be at supernova. And
You
he's
will
like,
literally destroy the planet.
and he's like, oh, supernova bad. And then at the end, he uses it to defeat Dr. Doom, of course.
Johnny, supernova. I thought we agreed that was bad.
I like that setup and payoff. But I don't buy that he would not know what that is. That's a weird...
But he's an idiot.
But he's not. He's a scientist. They're all scientists
Well, he's a-
except Ben Grimm.
He's a smart idiot.
Okay, yeah, well, he's not, because apparently he doesn't know what a supernova is. Like, it's stupid, it's bad.
He's too busy doing sick tricks on his motorbike and or his
banging Victoria's Secret models or whatever.
and lighting himself on fire while snowboarding.
How did he get that custom license plate made so fast?
And also, how they get their names is really dumb.
Oh, because Johnny Storm gives all of them their
Yeah.
names? Okay, I think how they originally get their names is at the end of the first issue of the Fantastic Four. They all just put their hands in and give themselves their names. So whatever, I guess. And they're called the Fantastic Four immediately. Like the second the public knows about them, that's just what they're called.
Oh yeah, the news just calls them the Fantastic Four.
But like you have to get the names in somehow. So no matter how you do that, it's gonna be dumb.
Yeah.
But there has to be. Like, you can't just go the whole movie where they're not called that, so it's...
And also, they somehow have their logo just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, just like...
It's like, Johnny comes home with it, and then Sue's like, what the fuck? Why do you have a 4 on it? Why is the superhero costume now? And Reed's like, oh, we all have it. Like what? That's
Yeah,
so
like,
weird.
Why?
Yeah, they don't even, like, decide to be superheroes. There's no point where they're like, we have to use these abilities to protect the innocent. Johnny says something for, like, a second,
What if we got these powers for a reason? What if it's like some higher calling?
but then...
Literally, the entire movie is about them wanting to get rid of their powers, except for Johnny, who's like, God gave us powers, and then and then Dr. Doom says the exact same thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, Johnny Storm, are you a bad guy? Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like they're setting him up to work with Doctor Doom because they have the same ideology. It's like Pyro and Magneto next to, where it's like, oh, you guys kind of agree.
Yeah. That's
it's
weird.
It's a little weird. Might want to mark that one down for later, but But no, Johnny Storm's the best guy, I guess.
He's just an
He's
asshole.
just an asshole. But he's not even that much of an asshole.
He's just
kind of a
annoying.
prick, Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Chris
know.
Evans is fine, but Johnny Storm is not a good character.
Well, Johnny Storm's just an annoying character in general. I mean, it's the archetype. They're all blatant archetypes.
yeah.
Reed Richards is the scientist who never has time for his real life. Ben Grimm is the gruff, muscly guy from Brooklyn. He's the commish. Sue Storm is the girl. And Johnny Storm
Yeah,
is an
she's
asshole.
literally just the girl on the team.
Yeah, so much so that constantly in the comics they would switch her out with like different members of the Inhumans, like Crystal would be the girl, and then eventually Johnny Storm was replaced with a robot. He was replaced with Herbie the robot because they were worried that kids would try to set themselves on fire. That's a true story.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marvel Comics.
Thank you, Marvel Comics. Rest in peace, Stan. We miss you every day. And Stan Lee, of course, he gets his cameo in this movie. I know he always does, but we always
He's a
have-
mailman for the first
he's
time.
Willie Lumpkin. This is the first time he's ever had a named character. That's a character from the comics. He's the Fantastic Four's mailman. And he gets to be in this movie with a spoken line.
Welcome back to the Baxter, Dr. Richards. I've got the usual for you. Good to have you back, sir.
Is this the first time where he said something?
I think so.
That's pretty cool.
There's probably one before, and we just forgot. That's a big-ass spider.
Where?
On the
Oh,
wall next-
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a huge spider.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll become Spider Boys.
Or we'll just die.
Yeah, that's what happens, isn't it? I love this movie.
I know you do. It's your favorite movie.
This movie's kind of good, though. Like, it's not bad.
It's definitely
bad.
not bad. I did enjoy it. It's just like, I can't tell how good it actually is.
No, but it's a comic book movie. Like, it's very clearly a comic book.
It does a good
superhero
job at
movie.
what it's trying to be.
It's not Ang Lee having comic panels and being really sad and boring. It's a fun movie with fun characters and fun action sequences. It's what I want. It's good.
As Martin Scorsese would say, it's not art.
It's a roller coaster ride. And Martin Scorsese, like, you're right. I don't know why people shit on you. Like,
I don't get why
it's
Disney is
true.
trying to have a meeting with him. I feel like they're meeting with him so that they can just shoot him.
Yeah,
like,
right? What the fuck? Like, that's so suspicious.
Like, why are you having a meeting with him to what? Discuss why Marvel movies are art? They're not.
I mean, no.
Just because there's a lot of CG doesn't make them art.
And there's a lot of great character stuff in those movies, and they're fun, and
They're good movies, but not every movie is a piece of art.
No, and I mean,
It's an art form, but that doesn't mean it's art.
exactly, like, a lot of Martin Scorsese's films I would call art. A lot of Quentin Tarantino and David Lynch's movies I would call art, and there's a million filmmakers who are more artists than filmmakers, but there are also some people who just make movies, and Marvel is kind of a company who just makes movies.
It not being art isn't even an insult. Like,
No,
it's just a statement.
He's absolutely right. I
It's-
don't
yeah,
know if
it's
people
just
are going to get mad at us for saying that,
I
but
don't care if they
100%
do.
agree with him.
Yeah, it's not an insult. They're still good movies. They're just not like works of art or anything.
Yeah, and-
There's classic movies that are works of art. Iron Man 2 is not a work of art.
Put that on a t-shirt. Iron Man 2 is not a work of art. You are right, Marty. I love Marvel movies.
Yeah.
We both love Marvel
It's-
movies.
We wouldn't be
but
doing this if we didn't love these movies, but they're
there's-
not art.
There's a difference between Thor and Goodfellas. Like,
There's a very big
it's
difference.
a stretch.
There's a difference between like Titanic and Fat Thor.
Yeah, well,
Like-
Titanic kind of a movie. I don't know if I would say Titanic is that
But
much
it's
of
like-
work
it's
of
like a
art. But I
classic
understand
movie,
what you
so,
mean.
like-
it's
Yeah, they're just
different.
It's just the point is
You go
Martin
to the
Scorsese's
theater,
right.
You sit in your comfy chair and you watch people shoot other people in like crazy cosmic worlds, and then you leave and you say, I had a good time with that, and you tell your friends and they go watch it, and that's it. Like, it's not
yeah, like
you're not gonna be thinking every single day about what an impact the journey of Star-Lord made on you. Probably.
unless
I don't know.
you're one of those people that makes video essays on YouTube that are like
Which-
30 minutes long, which good on them.
we
Those are
love them.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's mostly what
Nothing
I watch,
against
but-
them, just like
Yeah, I don't know.
we come here to see a man with the last name Von Doom turn into a metal man, and Chris Evans light himself on fire.
And we saw it.
And we did.
And it
We
was
came.
fun.
We got exactly what we came here for.
We saw. As Peter Venkman
I
would
was gonna make
say.
that joke.
This movie is exactly how it was in my head, and I'm glad it was, because I watched this a lot as a kid, and I remember it just being a really fun movie that I would watch. It didn't leave a super lasting impression on me, but I was glad that it existed in circulation and I could watch it whenever. And that's exactly how I still feel.
It's a movie.
It's a theme park ride. Also, I had all the action figures from this movie.
Of course you did.
This was maybe one of the first movies where I had a ton of the action figures. I didn't even have all of them. I had Doctor Doom, Johnny Storm, and Reed Richards. I don't think I had Sue or Ben, but
'Cause who cares about them?
what? They're all, I think almost all the. Okay, you know what? There's probably a divide. It's probably Reed and Sue, and then Johnny and Ben. Like it's I like all four of them, and I think they're all good
I
characters.
like 3 of them.
Franny?
The only
I
person
know,
on
you
the
hate-
team I've
you
been
hate
complaining
Johnny
about.
Storm, yeah. Yeah, no, I think I don't know. I enjoy him and his weird antics.
He's fine
It's dated
in
though.
small bursts.
Amazing he doesn't have frosted tips though, right? Like so surprising.
He has a shaved
Think
head.
he
How would he have
yeah,
frosted
he
tips?
does. No, but like if you think 2005 Johnny Storm, I think
Is he
like,
gonna have?
because of like Ultimate Comics, that's what.
Is
what
it
was going
frosted
on
tips
there.
if
It's
it would
like-
be all of his hair?
Well, no, I don't.
He only has
but
tips.
I'm saying I don't picture. Ew. I don't picture shaved head Johnny Storm when I think of this movie. I think of him with like a full blonde head of hair, but it's not what it is.
You think of him in God damn it, I can't
Scott
think.
Pilgrim?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think of him in that. I think of him in that a lot. I don't know what that means. Listener stuff. Listener time. Listener time. Listener time. Paul has sent us so much stuff.
Oh, has he?
Oh my god.
Number 1 fan.
Oh my god, he's buying Man Thing.
Is he? Oh my God.
We can
Good on you, Paul.
Buy Man Thing. Thank you.
Thank you for giving money to whoever gets the money for Man Thing.
Just whoever bought it from the bargain bin.
Yeah.
And is now selling it on eBay. Yeah. Okay, so he says that he used to love the scene where Reed Richards puts his fingers under the door.
No.
No, it's bad. He loved when Johnny Storm catches fire and then crashes in the snow. I like having a man who's on fire in a snowy environment. I think that's a fun little thematic thing. I think a lot of this is stuff that he used to love. He loved when they freezed Reed, but that's stupid.
That it's stupid and Doctor Doom making the same joke every time. Like, do you know what happens
Oh
to
my God,
to
yeah.
rubber when it's
Do you know what
super
happens
cool?
to a toad when
Yeah.
it's struck by lightning?
Like, okay, we get it, Halle Berry. Calm
Yeah,
down.
I know, right? But I like.
Do you know what happens to metal when it's hot
Super-
metal when
yeah,
it's super
super
cool
heated?
or
Yeah,
whatever?
But I do enjoy that in this movie where all the characters are scientists. They do beat him with science. They beat him with science and teamwork, Franny.
Science rules.
He also hates how both movies are about the Thing not wanting to be the Thing and then becoming human and then becoming the Thing again. That does happen in both of these
It
movies.
happens again.
Yeah, it does. My worst, maybe the worst, element of this, not the worst element, but one of the dumbest moments is when he goes in the weird machine and then becomes human again. It's kind of not as interesting if he's not always the Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also, good job to this movie, or for the next movie, for getting rid of all of his character development from this movie by making him want to become human again, when at the end of this movie he was fine being the Thing.
I don't remember in the next one if it's he wants to be human or it's... Because remember Johnny Storm becomes the Super Skrull in that one?
Oh,
like,
ew,
people-
fuck,
pe-
I
pe-
forgot.
People change powers.
Gross. I don't want to
Sue
think about
Storm
that.
gets set on fire and stuff. And so I think there's a moment there where he becomes Michael Chiklis again. He becomes Ben Grimm, and then he's like, oh my god, I'm finally back. Even though in this movie, his whole hero's sacrifice is becoming human again and then realizing that he has to save the day and his friends, so he becomes a monster again. Like, that's the character arc,
Yeah,
and it's a
that's-
completed arc in this movie, and it's good.
And then it's a complete 180.
Fuck it, whatever, because we need a sick joke in the next one, because then he can be like, I'm human again, and then be sad when he turns back into the Thing. 'Cause fuck you. Oh, you know what we haven't even talked about? The costumes, which Paul says that he loves. I kind of love them too. Like, they're super accurate. Like, they're exactly what they should be.
Even
They
though
look so good in
they
this
look
movie.
really
Like,
good, but also it's weird that they were spacesuits. Or
yeah, that's a weird way to be like, because it's like in X-Men Apocalypse. We found these flight suits, and then...
and they just so happened to react the exact same way that all of them did. So Johnny's suit
Yeah.
just so happens to be fire
'cause
resistant.
They were also in the storm.
Yeah.
Or whatever, so whatever.
Sue just so happens to have a suit that can turn invisible Because she can turn
'cause
invisible.
She can turn invisible and do force
Okay,
fields.
movie.
Yeah, all right. Okay, movie. But whatever. We'll take it.
Yeah, it's whatever. They look good.
Also, a lot of this movie apparently was changed because The Incredibles came out the previous year, and I think there's lots of things.
The
that
Incredibles are literally just the Disney's version, or well,
Oh.
they were Disney's version of the Fantastic Four, but now they own the Fantastic
I would
Four.
love
it's
an
another
ani-
bootleg Fantastic
you could
Four.
totally do like if they ever do another Fantastic Four animated series, like just for TV or whatever.
Fantastic Four versus The Incredibles.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
'Cause
thinking
they're the
you could
exact same
totally
people?
Fold them in. Yeah. Well, not
Well,
even because
Dash
three of them are the same, and then one of them is totally different.
okay, that's still
No, I'm
3
saying,
out
I'm
of
saying,
4.
but that is their Fantastic Four movie, and it's the best Fantastic Four movie for sure. The Incredibles absolutely is.
Because The Incredibles is just a perfect movie.
Yeah, but if we're talking about like actual Fantastic Four movies, this is probably the best one. We're gonna have
Is
to
the
wait
next
until
one
we see
worse?
Rise of Silver Surfer to determine. I don't totally remember which is worse. These kind of blend together for me. I think I watched these as a double feature a lot.
I kind of feel like this one is going to be better because Galactus Cloud is going to be weird, and also Super Skrull
yeah,
is going to be
those aren't great
weird.
things that happen in that movie. But we also get Silver Surfer. We get better characterization of Doctor Doom. So we're gonna have to see. I don't know though. I have no fucking clue. I have good memories with both of these movies, and this one worked out. So I'm hoping that the other one is how I remember it.
Probably won't.
Probably won't, but we always say that, and then usually it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
to how we think it is or how it's gonna be. Tom Quirk sent us a little paragraph about it. While it is certainly imperfect, it definitely came a lot closer to what I would expect from a Fantastic Four movie than the 2015 one did. They did a good job of capturing the family dynamic, which is the defining feature of that team in my opinion, and only screwed up mostly with the antagonist and overall plot.
First of all, I think anything beats the Fantastic
2015
Four
one?
from 2015.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a movie where there's no superhero things happening.
Oh, I can't wait for that movie.
It's so boring.
I've seen parts of it.
Oh
It
my
is
God.
not good at
No,
all.
it's just boring. It's boring, and I feel bad for Josh Trank and everyone in it, because it's like, you guys shouldn't be here.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
I feel like everyone in that movie isn't even a bad actor. It's just like the movie's not good.
No, it's not good at all. 10 years. Like almost 10 years to the month after this, actually. We've never maybe had a perfect Fantastic Four movie, but these ones are pretty close to what I want, I think. This one and the next one. From memory, the next one. But this one I still really like, and I enjoyed watching it again, because there's a lot of campy, silly elements, but there's a lot of like
It was in a
nostalgic
good
moments.
way.
And there's a lot of things I remember from this movie. I'm like, oh, it's that bit. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like this movie has a lot of just like random memorable moments.
This movie has a cheesy montage in it, and that's amazing. That's exactly what I want in my Fantastic
That's what
Four
every
movie.
superhero movie needs.
And any movie that has the balls to have like a goofy montage, I usually respect, especially in 2005 where that wasn't a thing. Like, there's stylistic choices in this movie. It's good. There's shots in this movie where you could have... like, there were moments in this movie from a cinematography angle where I'm looking at that, and I'm like, you could have shot that flat, but you put a weird thing in front of Reed's face, and you knew that would have taken an extra 15 minutes to set that shot up, but you did it because you're in it for the craft of filmmaking. Good
those
work.
15 minutes were worth the 2 seconds it was on screen.
Absolutely. They always are. And if you're a filmmaker, you should always make the extra effort for every moment to feel like a perfect moment. But there's some moments in here where I'm like, you could have done that really flat like any other movie would, but you didn't. And that makes me respect it. I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of good in this movie, I think. And there's some dumb shit, but it's mostly
I think there's more than a
fun.
little, but it's like it's in a good way.
It balances out. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I would say watch it because it's fun. And if you're, especially when a new Fantastic Four movie starts looking like it's in development, this would totally be a good time to go back and revisit these two movies, and because they're worth it, and it's fun to watch a young Chris Evans run around. And be
Yeah,
like, you have no idea what is coming for you in 6 years.
I feel like this is the kind of movie that you don't watch like super often, but you just watch it like every few years.
Yeah, which is kind of what I've done with it. I watched
Yeah.
it a lot in like mid-elementary school, I
Like
think. and
you
then
watch it, you give
yeah.
it 2 or 3 years, and then you come back to it and you remember that it was really good, and then you don't
Yeah.
watch it for another 3 years.
It's fun, exactly. No, you don't need to watch it constantly, but it's one that isn't a pain.
It's
to
an
revisit
enjoyable
sometimes.
experience.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not super smart, but I still really enjoy it. thank you for listening for the entire year, actually, to this random crazy show.
It's
that we
been
do.
like half the year, but
yeah,
still.
well, for the year of 2019, when we started the show in April, I'm glad that we've stuck with it and that we've had a lot of great memories along the way, and we've had a lot of great fans and interactions and all that stuff, and I think 2020 is going to be even better for us. We're going to get into the MCU, and I think we'll probably finish up next year, so.
We will probably finish up probably around this time next year, I think.
So you still have to stick with us for a
You
long
have no
time.
choice.
We're
You
not
have to
going
listen.
anywhere.
If you've made it this far, you have to listen through the rest. You have no
And
choice.
this is our 30th episode, actually. So
Only 50 more to go.
yeah, exactly. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. We've definitely enjoyed talking about this every week. It's given us something to do, and it's given us an excuse to rewatch all these weird fucking movies. And
Or for
talk
me, it's
about 'em.
given me a chance to watch these movies for the first time like this. I've never seen the movie all the way through. I've seen like chunks of it. So it's fun to see, especially like in the beginning, the super old movies and how
Yeah,
far we've come
exactly,
with like
'cause
the
we
MCU.
Really have. I mean, if you look at the Fantastic Four movie that was made 10 years before this one was, it's like, holy shit.
If you look at the Doctor Strange TV movie and then see Doctor Strange in like Infinity War,
It's insane. Oh my god. Yeah, we have really, it gives you a lot of respect for where we are now as cinema goers and as filmmakers and just the whole craft in general. It's insane to see how it's been perfected over the years, and just comic book storytelling in general. It's wonderful to see this evolution, and I'm glad that all of you guys have been there to come along on this journey with us through all of it. We're gonna try to put out some more content throughout next year. Obviously,
we're gonna try to make the show not hot garbage.
yeah, I mean, it'll be about the same level it is now. Let's
It'll
be
be-
honest. It's probably not.
I'm
gonna
sure
change.
it'll be ever so slightly better. The fire on the garbage will be a little lower.
Well, yeah, and hopefully we'll get to some longer episodes maybe once we start talking about those MCU movies.
Hopefully.
But also, hopefully not, because I barely get these out in time if I
Yeah,
do.
it's gonna. I feel like if we start doing like really long episodes, it's gonna be like we're doing this once a month.
Yeah, well, it probably will, or once every 2 weeks. And there's definitely going to be a schedule change next year, but we'll get into that
Yeah.
later. Probably at the start of, or whatever the first episode we do in January is, which will be X-Men The Last Stand. We will talk about scheduling stuff because I can't do it the way that it is now. I know I have time, but I still am a busy man. I don't always have
I
the
feel
time.
like the schedule will probably go back to how it is now, like during summer.
Yes,
like when we have like no
exactly.
time, we'll just start like pumping out
Oh
episodes.
my
like
god, yeah, probably multiple a week, honestly, at that point.
just like have nothing better to do. Like
We're
surprise.
like, we need to be
3
creative
episodes
right
this
now.
week.
We need to put stuff out. Yeah. Thank you all. We're, like we said around Thanksgiving, we're incredibly grateful for all of you who tune in every week, or maybe if this is your first episode, if you go back through our past episodes, or if you never listen again, we're really glad that you found this and you listen to this.
If you listened this far and you've never listened to an episode before, welcome and thank you for listening this far.
Absolutely. And hopefully the big gap in between ending this year and starting next year we won't lose too many listeners, because I know sometimes people are like, oh, is that it? Did they die? Is this over?
Yes,
Can I-
Christmas literally killed us.
Can I unsubscribe? Maybe don't unsubscribe. Just wait. Okay, just wait a couple weeks, and then we'll have an X-Men 3 episode, and we'll be back into a normal routine, and you'll have tons more episodes. And there's already 30 episodes that you can go back and listen to. So plenty of content out there. But you guys are the best fans in the world. I know everyone who has any sort of listeners says that. But fuck
It's
everybody
true.
else's listeners. You guys are the best. Don't let anyone tell you any different.
You give us attention, therefore you're the best.
That's all we want is attention. That's why we do it. No, absolutely not. But everybody who has reached out to us has been so nice and so great. Thank all of you. Sorry for not being weird creeps. We haven't had any weird creeps yet. I don't think.
Have we gotten any negative feedback?
I don't think so. No, everyone's been extremely
Yeah,
positive. And that's
you
why
guys
you
are great.
Yeah, you really are.
Negative feedback is still appreciated though, as long as it's like constructive and not just like you
Yes.
guys fucking suck.
Yeah, I mean,
Which I mean,
I'll
it's
take it,
valid.
yeah.
It's valid,
Well,
but
apparently
like
we actually have a 5.0 star rating on iTunes, which is pretty good. So
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, I
It's
didn't
from a
even
whole
know
1
until the other
rating.
day. Yeah, exactly. But it was still pretty good. You can find us on. You think by 30 episodes later I would have it down by now?
Nope,
but I guess
never.
not.
You're never gonna have it
You can email us at marvelmoviepod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at marvelmoviepod. You can fuck. You can
Do it again.
Did I say any of that right? Or did I say all of it wrong?
I think you said it all wrong.
Fuck. Okay.
Go
Sorry.
through it again.
All right. Here we go.
This is staying in.
You can email us at marvelmoviepod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at marvelmoviepod. You can find me on Instagram at flipdegg. You can find me on Twitter at flipdegg, but the E and egg is a 3. Franny was in space. He was in a weird radiation storm.
I am a weird rock
accidents.
monster.
He's a rock monster. He's appalling to look at.
My organs are made of rocks, apparently.
Oh, yeah. What a weird thing to have in this movie.
His heart is made of rocks.
And he does the fucking Raphael put on a hat and a trench coat and run around, and no one will know that you're a big rock monster in this.
That makes total sense.
I love it, though. It's the best disguise in film history.
Yep.
Anyway,
Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your New Year's.
enjoy your Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, Franny. We have
Yes,
to be
of course.
multinational wherever you're celebrating.
Okay, fine. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Whatever you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it.
They're all equally good, but Christmas is the best. It's pretty good.
Just without the Christianity.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody, or whatever else.
Merry Hanukkah. Merry Kwanzaa.
Merry Kwanzaa, joyous Kwanzaa.
Merry New
Happy
Year's.
Hanukkah. Merry New Year's. Let's hope I don't die in that plane crash because I have to do another one. So, okay, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
You're the best.
Do some stretches.
Or turn into a rock monster.
Part rock, part elastic, part fire, part whatever. All right, we'll see you.